and tell me their stories. You know, I came to this, now I've come 3 times, I've organized this in my community, I've brought my friends, I've got my union or my fellow teachers. I mean, so it's dramatic evidence I'm getting that this is having an effect. And I assume those are the exact same people then who are getting organized on network neutrality and stopping Bush administration propaganda when they break the law and those issues. They're not just coming to the conference and then going home and watching ESPN all the time.
Some of the people who come to this conference do it as their family vacation, or as their.
You want to hear a great story?
Yeah.
Heard this
okay.
A woman came up to me yesterday. So she's the 4th one she's been to all 4. And she said she broke up with her last boyfriend because he refused to come to the first one.
Oh.
He said, if you're not coming to that conference, get out, pal.
Yeah, that tells me everything I need to know about you.
Yeah, that's right. She said that was it. You don't have
smart
it.
No, but this is the thing. Some people come as their vacation. We have a remarkably working class and middle class base for this movement. And these are people who are willing to change their life in many fundamental ways, to go out and become the grassroots of something that's very new and very different. And so we think the conference is absolutely essential, not because we're going to give them marching orders. In fact, you'll notice at this conference there aren't a lot of marching orders, like here's the things you must go do. It's more a case that we want these folks to feel that they are part of a community, to know they're not alone. This morning in his speech, Bill Moyer said, stand up, shake hands with the person next to you, realize that you are not alone. That's very, very important, because an awful lot of people who are in this movement are not in New York City or in LA. I was greeted the other night by 11 people who'd come up from Huntsville, Alabama. I was with a woman this morning from Tama, Iowa.
Even from crazy places like Asheville, North Carolina.
Asheville, North Carolina. Who thought of that? And so the bottom line is we have people coming from places where they don't necessarily have a big media reform movement. And they want to know that they're not out there in the wilderness. And I think coming here does that for them. And boy, what do we get in return? They go back for 18 or 20 months till the next conference and work it. And the reason that we have members of Congress now voting to overturn FCC rules, the reason we have presidential candidates talking about our issues, is because when they go to Tama, Iowa, or when they go to Asheville, North Carolina, somebody comes up to them and says, I want to talk to you about media issues. We are, via our grassroots movement, we are educating politicians. We are educating leaders. And so that's why we have the conference. It's to tell people, buck up, take it, go do it for another 18 months, and then we'll meet up again. You can tell us how you succeeded.
I got a question. My name's Erich Vieth. I'm with the blog Dangerous Intersection. This is my 3rd conference, by the way. I've enjoyed all of them.
Yes.
I live in St. Louis. In your vision, what is the role of big media in the mix? And the reason I ask that is because some of the people in some of the conferences here during this weekend have expressed the opinion that you should pull the plug, turn it off, don't watch. And I'm also aware of the fact that good investigation takes money, but to have money into the system enhances the prospect of corruption or skewed viewpoints. So I'm just wondering, in your vision, I assume it's part of the mix, and how do you see it?
Here are 2 notions for you. Number 1, pull the plug is a great idea. I didn't know how much I believed in it until my daughter was born. And then I realized I'm one of these pull the plug people. We raised her without very much TV, and it seems to have worked really well. At least we like her. She's 4. And so I'm not opposed to the pull the plug concept, but I also realize it's a little unrealistic. Most people aren't going to do it. And so our goal is to say this. If there is going to be big media, let it be diversely owned, as diversely as possible, and let us make some demands of it. Let us have some standards. We should not be afraid to say to big media, which camps on our airwaves, that there are some fees for that camping. Not a financial fee, but there are some responsibilities. And one of those, for instance, is to broadcast diverse, good debates during presidential campaigns, not these kind of manufactured things which are managed by the candidates, right? Another is to invest in media, in journalism, to go out and have foreign bureaus, to cover your state capital, do things like that. What we see is that what was big media now is shutting down most of what was journalism. What we are advocating for is getting journalism back in there, getting cultural diversity back in there, and not letting big media be the only media. We also think that community and public broadcasting have a huge and important role in this society. And what troubles us is that the United States is so far behind other countries in the world, including many developing countries, not just the wealthy countries of the world, but many developing countries recognize from the start that it is absolutely vital to have a strong public and community broadcasting and communication system in your country so that people are, again, diversely informed and given a whole host of ideas rather than a little bit of pablum from a company that sees them as consumers rather than citizens.
Do you think that there's a way to fill the gap in terms of foreign news? Because that's been a huge hit, I think. The closure of foreign bureaus and national bureaus as well.
I mean, to get more foreign coverage. I mean, from U.S. correspondents based in other countries covering it for U.S. media. Well, I think in the near term that's going to be tough, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not, the commercial logic is entirely against it. It's been the exact opposite direction. Public broadcasters are completely strapped for money, so they're going to feel that that's going to be almost impossible for them to even conceive of doing something. So unless we change something, we shouldn't expect a different outcome. What can we change to produce a different outcome? Well, I think that... I thought you were going to help me out here and finish my sentence right now.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. Well, I think that one of the things we can do is, this is where what Bill Morris spoke about this morning is the value, public broadcasting. If we could have funds specifically for foreign bureaus that working for the PBS or NPR stations, and the reason why that could have value is that's something we can do in the near term without having to ask anyone, they can just go ahead and do it. And secondly, that hopefully might cultivate an interest in the material and generate enough interest in the material that it would shame or goad the major media that have withdrawn all these foreign correspondents. Saying, maybe we should have a correspondent in Tehran. Maybe we should have one in Rome. Maybe we shouldn't just go into London. And now they get all their video for foreign coverage on U.S. networks comes from these video wholesalers in London. There's no actual film crews covering the world for U.S. news media, broadcast media.
Let me give you a quick example on the crisis here. Every week in the United States, a major media outlet, either a newspaper or a broadcast outlet, usually a newspaper, closes a foreign bureau. Every week.
Every week.
We are losing them at a rate that you cannot believe, because every time you see that a media company has broken up, right, and they're selling off the properties, these are used to be called newspapers, the first thing that the new owner comes in and says is, how do I make up my money that I paid to buy this publication? Well, the way to do it, of course, is, you mean we've got somebody in London? Oh, that's just a vacation. Close that down. Miami Herald. We got people all over Latin America? Heck, AP does that. But at the end of the day, we start closing these bureaus down. And here's where the crisis comes in. We lose a diversity of international perspectives reported by U.S. reporters, but coming from different places. We lose sight of ourselves because we don't know what people in Chicago may send a reporter off. Maybe Chicago's got a lot of Polish folks, so they put a bureau in Poland. We get a little bit more there. Frankly, the Boston papers used to be great on covering Northern Ireland because of a large Irish population. And the fact of the matter is, in communities with large African-American populations, you think maybe we might get a little African coverage even. Now, our crisis right now is that we have so shut these bureaus down, so cut out the rest of the world, that after 9/11, when this country forged an intimate alliance with the nation of Pakistan, perhaps not the greatest ally in the world, we had so little presence on the ground in Pakistan by our media that when there was a horrific incident very early on where there was an attack on a Christian congregation within Pakistan that was an international incident and seen as evidence of the post-9/11 era blowing up, big things happening, the U.S. networks had to buy the video from this incident from French networks. Now, France, a much smaller country, had television networks all over Pakistan. How come this huge global power, the United States, doesn't have media covering places to which we are intimately involved, and yet other countries, which to some extent are just there out of sheer interest in the world, not only are on the ground, but we have to rely on them to sell us their video.